Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
Hey, my darlings, how are we? I mentioned last week, after my little heartburn rant, which, just to give you a concept of time, was 10 minutes ago, because I'm bulk recording episodes. I know that a week has passed for you, but no, 10 minutes have passed for me. I stopped off to get a couple more Rennie, and here I am back at my desk, like the fucking loser I am. Anyway, the reason that I'm bulk recording episodes is because I am off to a festival tomorrow. I know what you're thinking. Alex, you can't even handle a cup of peppermint tea. How are you going to go to a festival? Well, my darlings, a couple of the headliners of this festival include Gary Newman and the Stranglers. So because this is music of the generation that came before me, I'm hoping I'm going to be in good company. Everyone will have Rennie. It'll be great. But no, the reason that I'm going to this festival, to be honest, I would go for Gary Newman, but no, there's a bigger reason that I'm going for it. And that is Joe, my lovely partner in life and in business, is playing this festival 3 fucking times. He's playing twice with Millie Manders and the Shut Up, which, if you have not listened to them, give them a go. Absolutely love those guys. And I do go and see them whenever I can because, just watch any live performance of theirs and you will see the energy that Millie Manders brings to the stage. It is so much fun. She's also lovely. They're all lovely. And they write a great tune. And also Penelope Tree. So while Millie Manders, a lot more punky and scary, Penelope Tree, a lot more emo. So don't drink too many wines before you go and see them because you will be a sobbing mess. That is my rest of the week plans. I'm also going to take my laptop because I've got so much work to do, but that's what 4-hour train journeys are for, right? Again, thank you to everyone who signed up for the webinar. There are still tickets available. This is on the 30th of August, she says as she frantically checks her diary to make sure she's giving out the right date. Yes, it is on the 30th of August. At 1 p.m. British summertime, London time, I will be talking to you for a power hour of branding chat. It will be very much in the format of how we do this podcast, fast and loose. So bring any questions that you have. I will bring some slides. Let's all bring a cup of tea and we'll have a lovely chance to get to know each other. If I have not spoken to you before, please do come along and say hi. I will put the link in the show notes of this episode. Okay, so this week, boundary setting and saying no. This, I'm very proud to say, is maybe one of the best skills that I've mastered in the past few years. And I say that because I, by my nature, am a people pleaser. So this isn't something that was just a magical thing that I learned. I am such a people pleaser by nature. And so I've really had to train myself to do this, which is why I'm very proud of where I am with it right now. I used to just feel a lot more comfortable doing anything for anyone all of the time rather than saying no. Right? Now, this is something that, especially women, we get this reputation where if you pull up boundaries and if you say no, you're seen as being difficult or selfish or self-involved and that you're not willing to help others. This is not a good thing. This is so fucked. And I know a lot of men who are people pleasers as well. This is not exclusively something for people who are socialised as women. This is something that everyone can be guilty of. But I would be burnt out. I felt disrespected because I was just saying yes and essentially teaching people to treat me a certain way. I felt put down. I was constantly on edge. I was worried about what the next thing was going to be because I felt so out of control, right? When you don't put up boundaries and when you don't learn to say no, you're essentially letting everybody else in the world be in control of how your day's going to go. Now, I was part of a group coaching course last year. Wonderful, wonderful group of women. Amazing group to be a part of. And there was one exercise that we had to do where we had to describe how we felt about our current work, about where we were with our business, by using a metaphor, right? So does it feel like every day you're walking along by a brook and there's wind in your hair and everything is wonderful? Or does it feel like you're falling down a sewage chute? Like, how would you describe it? Now, before I'd really gotten into this boundary setting work, I described how I felt about my business with this metaphor. I said that every day I feel like I'm in an iron cage, suspended really high up in the air. Now, I don't like heights, so already that's fucking scary, but I'm being attacked by crows. Hanging in a cage, attacked by crows. Is that not the most goth thing you've ever heard in your life? First of all. But honestly, I look back on that now and I'm like, yeah, that is how I felt every day. I would be terrified to check my emails because I would think, what fucking now? What is someone going to demand of me? What else am I going to have to add to my to-do list? You know, what's going to be expected of me? What criticism am I going to receive? Just like peck, 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 peck. I was going to do some like creaking noises then, but no, we don't need some fucking soundscapes from me. You can imagine the cage. So the reason why I felt like this is because I was letting other people dictate the terms of working with me. Now that felt horrible. So when I took back my power and controlled the situation from the get-go, it worked beautifully. Now maybe using the word control, like controlling this situation, isn't quite right because it makes it sound like you've got too much of a grip on it and you're not willing to let go. But what it really is just acknowledging that your time is valuable, that you are valuable, and that you are teaching people how to treat you, right? Teach people how to treat you. Now, I have a few examples of how this has shown up for me in the last years. And one particular scenario I remember so well. I had someone approach me about a very, very small job. Comparatively to some of the projects that we've taken on in the last year, really, really tiny. But this woman was very lovely, she was very sweet, and she said to me that she'd had some trouble getting this work done before. She said she wasn't really sure that people were understanding what she was trying to achieve. So we had a lovely phone call, lovely, lovely, lovely phone call, and she felt so relieved, she felt so happy because she said, yes, Alex, you do get it. I feel like you understand what I'm trying to achieve. I said, wonderful, that sounds great. And she said, please let me know how much this is going to cost me. So I did, and I told her how much it was going to cost. Not a huge amount of money. We're talking a few £100s. Now, what happened next was this lady got me to jump through hoops. She wanted to see more examples of work. She wanted to see more specific examples of work. She wanted me to lower my prices. She wanted to only see another example of when I had created exactly what she wanted me to create. Now, this was a very simple job, but I was being asked to jump through hoops. And eventually, I sent her an email back that said, thank you so much for your interest in Strange and for us doing this job for you. On reflection, I have decided that we are not the right agency for you. Best of luck with your project and best of luck for future projects. That's it. Now, shockingly, I never heard back from her. And honestly, the thought of sending that email a few years ago would make me feel sick because I thought that I was morally corrupt to send something like that. I would make myself smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I was a little pebble on the bottom of someone's shoe before I would turn someone away, because that's just how I was taught that women are supposed to do things, right? It's sad, but it's true. Now, there are a few ways that boundary setting can take shape in your business. And just have a think about these and see if this is something that you're guilty of going along with as it happens. And think about ways that you can take that power back, right? I'm going to suggest a few. So first of all, first and foremost, people who want to pick your brains and get free mentoring, advice, or just free things from you. Now, first and foremost, I fucking hate that expression. Whoever came up with the phrase, pick your brains, bleh, so gross, I hate it. Now, it is completely up to you whether or not you want to help people out for free. I do it a fair amount when it's the right people and when I feel up to it, and in a way that I feel comfortable with. But if you're feeling like you're doing this kind of thing out of obligation, if you feel like you don't have the option to say no, you absolutely do. Have some respect for your own time and only offer free advice if it feels good for you. Now, one thing you can do, and one way that I think this is so easy to do, especially if it's someone who you don't know particularly well, just create a script, have it in the notes on your phone, on your desktop, which says, absolutely, thanks for your interest in working with me. I charge XXX for a power hour. Let me know if you'd like to book this in. Have a Calendly ready that has payment built in. And then if rando people are just approaching you and dropping in your DM saying, hey, give me free business advice, you already have it ready to go. You don't need to agonize. You don't need to put this out to a committee to say, oh, am I being a bitch? No, there you go. Now, even if you run a product-based business and you don't have kind of power hours or coaching or mentoring things in place, think about putting something in place, right? If this is the first time that it's happened to you, think about just, charging whatever feels comfortable. Like charge 100 quid, charge 50 quid if you like, but just do it in a way that you feel like your time is being rewarded. Now, number 2, and this is one that I know very well, working in a service-based industry, scope creep. So scope creep is when you lay out the terms of a project and say, we are going to do X, Y, and Z together. Now, what you may notice happening slowly but surely, is just one little bit of work gets added in. Or would you just mind doing this little bit extra? Or we could just go for one more week. Or could I just have one more phone call with you? Until all of a sudden, the amount of money which you originally quoted is starting to get more and more and more diluted. At which point you are being paid less and less and less for your time. See how this comes back to creating that respect and value for your time, which is valuable. Your time is valuable. You need to remember that because not everybody else will. Now, it's really valuable if you do work in a service-based industry to write into your contract that you have X amount of amends, and after that it's chargeable. Now, this may seem harsh, but if you're charging a project fee, then you can just start to realise that you are losing value. If you do things this way, what I've found is it works well for the clients too, because it encourages them to really focus and not making loads of little changes. Right, it's creating stages of amends. It's creating stages of moving them forward rather than lots and lots and lots of little things. Because what happens when you make lots and lots and lots of little changes? If you haven't seen the movie Sleeping Beauty, here's what happens. There's a bit where Aurora is dancing and 2 of the fairy godmothers are trying to change the colour of her dress back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until all of a sudden it's just a splodgy mess. That's what can happen with client projects. If you don't really focus and create those layers of changes, right? If it's just lots and lots and lots of little things, even with things like our retainer packages, if you have a monthly design retainer with us, then we have one call where we get on and we say, what needs to happen? What do we need to do? When are the dates that we want to get it done? It just keeps everyone focused, right? It keeps you focused, it keeps you on track, and it keeps there from being any resentment between people. And that's what you want. And number 3, learn when to turn people away. Now, I had this happen a couple of years ago now. I had such an exciting project drop into my inbox. I was beyond excited about this. It was this huge startup. They were based in America, and the guy who was starting it was like a serial entrepreneur. He had so much money in the bank. I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. Now, the more that I spoke to him, the more I got the impression that he had absolutely no respect for me or my skills or my opinions or basically anything that I had to say. He was quite rude, he was quite condescending, and nothing that I suggested was good enough for him. He also was refusing to sign a contract. And so all of the conversations that we were having were all without the promise of there actually being any work at the end of it. And so I sent that exact email that I sent to this other lady. Thank you so much for your interest in me. I have decided that I'm not the right designer for you. Best of luck on all of your projects. Have a lovely life, essentially. And there are ways you can do this even if you're in a product-based business. Like if you have someone on your mailing list that every time you go on sale, they order a load of stuff, send it all back, and then complain if they find one hair on a garment that they ordered, like just take them off the fucking mailing list. Like boom, blacklisted. This is all about taking back your power, and you can be compassionate and you can be caring and you can do your best for everyone. But doing your best for other people doesn't mean that you should be suffering. It does not mean that you should be burning yourself out. Now finally, set working terms and stick to them. Write into your contract that your operating hours are XXX and you will get back to people within those hours. Right? So simple. State how you prefer to be contacted. If you don't always want to be in front of a screen, then just let people know when they start working with you that you'll email or you'll have phone calls. Set up a Slack channel if you like, you know? Of course you can make exceptions. If that really doesn't work for someone, then negotiate on that. But the likelihood is people who ask you to bend to their will are going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. Just proceed with caution. All right, my darlings. Just remember, I know this is a really cheesy metaphor, but you know how they always tell you on planes to put your own oxygen mask on before you help anybody else. Because if you can't breathe, then you're no good to anyone. Setting boundaries is really, really, really healthy. It'll help you stay in your zone of genius. It'll help you do your best work. Don't let yourself feel like you're hanging in a cage being attacked by crows, or whatever is your non-goth equivalent. Okay, guys. I'm off to rebellion. Have a wonderful week, and I will catch you here next time.
Got an idea for a maverick business of your own? Learn how to build a powerful brand that will get people obsessed with our online program, not just a pretty logo. You'll learn a simple step-by-step framework that will kickstart your killer brand and help you find your raving fan base. Find out more today at strangecreativestudio.com.